Okay, so 6-9, we're just here to clean up homework and just do a remind. So the 6-9 lesson was called variation. There were two types of variation. What was one of your variation types?
Direct.
Direct. If we talk about direct variation, that means if one thing went up, another thing would have to go up as well. They'll react in the same direction. They asked you for an equation of variation. What did the equation of variation look like for direct? Y equals something times x. And the book was just using k as their letter there. So if they come along and they tell you y and they tell you x, and your job is to figure out the k, how would you do that? We go y divide by x. So if you pick a yellow number, any number, 5, yellow number, any number, 10. So the equation is always y equals something and that x. In this case, the something would be 2, because the y number divided by the x number is 2. What if this were an 11?
11 over 5.
You'd be fine going 11 over 5. You'd also be fine making a decimal. You'd be fine to make a mixed number. That's all fine. What if you had like a 15 and a 25?
5 over 3.
You'd have to reduce to get down to 5 over 3. You wouldn't want to leave 25 over 15. You'd want to reduce down for that. Question about the idea of the directs. Let's rattle off some odd answers. So what do you think for 1? Don't just say A. We want to get like y equals 8x. That's the truth. 3.
Y equals negative 16x.
Y equals negative 16x is the truth. Give you a second to find 5.
Which one are we on?
5.
Y equals 5x.
That's true. 7.
Y equals 3.75x.
That's fine. Could also be 15/4 x. Could be 3 3/4 x. That all wins. None.
Y equals 28 over 25x.
Yeah, let's change that a little bit. Instead of having decimals inside of fractions, what can you do to make that a little better look? Just move them both over. So instead of 0.8 and 0.5, just go with
8 or 5.
regular 8, regular 5. Or you could just grab a calculator and do 0.8 divide by 0.5 and get 1.6. We could go y equals 1.6x. That's the scheme. 1 to 9 anyway, the odds. If you looked in the back already, you already knew that those were right. If you did the evens honestly, you'll get those all right too, because they're the same. If you just made a mistake, maybe fix your corresponding even, because if you made a mistake on 9, you probably have the same mistake on 10. But anybody need any guidance on the odds, how to do any of the odd ones? Okay, so then plan B. If it's not direct variation, there's a thing called inverse. Inverse means if one thing goes up, the other goes down. If we go to do the equation, it's still y equals, but k on top of x. So all your answers should look like y equals fraction, x on the bottom. When we want to go get the k, how are we going to get the k? If you know the x and y, you get the k here by multiplying. So pick any number.
5.
5, so 10. Just multiply the numbers. And on this one I told you, if you got a fraction with a decimal in it, I would just live with that. Okay, so if you got a decimal, y equals decimal on an x this time, I'll live with it. No harm, no foul there. Question about that scheme? So let's cut down to 19. Do you have 19?
60.
Y equals 60 over x is a win. 21.
Y equals 12 over x.
That's true.
We're on 23.
23.
36 over x.
Y equals 36 over x, true. 25. Skip back a row.
Y equals 9 over X.
Y equals 9 over X, that's true. That's the odds. If you check those in the back, you already knew those were right. If those are right, the evens probably are right. If you want a minute, check them, make sure you're right, feel free. If you made a mistake, tune it up real quick, because like if 25 is wrong, 26 is probably wrong, and they came in pairs. Does anybody need any more guidance on 282 than what we already did with the reteach and the quick wrap through the odds?
Could you go over 19 real quick?
19 real quick, so it says inverse variation, so guaranteed y is going to equal some number on top of x. You just have to figure out what that number would be. That whole section, just multiply the numbers they give you. So if you take 19 and you multiply the numbers they gave you, that's a 60. Y equals 60 on top of x is the whole answer.
274.
Anybody else 282s? Okay. If anybody needs help, let's just explain where we are and what we could do with our remaining time here today. So, the future first. So, one day away, tomorrow, there's a sheet due that I gave you already. It goes from 6/6 to 6/9. So 6/6 to 6/9 sheet due tomorrow. 2 days away, which on our calendar is Monday, we would take a quiz just like that. 3 days away, which is Tuesday, there's a Chapter 6 full review sheet. 4 days away, we'd be to Wednesday by then, is the Chapter 6 full chapter test. By Wednesday, 4 days away, all the homework from this chapter would be due, but the grade period didn't wipe away. So what that means is 282 I'm going to demand from you today, because if you didn't do 282, you were just lazy, and I told you that yesterday. So 282, it's like now or never time on 282, just send those. With the exception of our one guy who was absent yesterday, I need that tomorrow, do or die. Tomorrow or never.